Well, welcome back to Finance Uncut. On today's episode, Mises warned about the Great Reset. So I wanted to share this article. The Great Reset is the road to socialism Mises warned us about on the Mises Institute website. So let's have a look at it. Through the sheer power of his intellectual output, Ludwig von Mises established himself as one of the most important intellectuals of the 20th century. His work, Human Action, remains a foundational text of the Austrian school. His critique outlining the impracticality of socialism was vindicated with the fall of the Soviet Union and remains without a serious intellectual challenge today. Just as important, but often overlooked, is his work on the economic system that continues to infect the world today. Interventionism. Well, don't we have a lot of that? Like contemporaries such as James Burnham, Mises discerned that the true threat to free markets in the West was not a true socialist revolution, but rather a middle-of-the-road approach, so attracted an intellectually shallow political class. In 1950, during one of his most important speeches, Mises identified the most dangerous ideology on the global stage. They reject socialism no less than capitalism. They recommend a third system, which, as they say, is as far from capitalism as it is from socialism, which, as a third system of society's economic organization, stands midway between the two other systems, and while retaining the advantages of both, avoids the disadvantages inherent in each. The third system is known as the system of interventionism. In the terminology of American politics, it is often referred to as the middle-of-the-road policy. This ideology succeeded where communism failed, successfully toppling governments around the world that never had true respect for property rights. But as Mises understood, however, this managerial revolution could not last as a sustainable form of government. Interventionism may be politically convenient, but ultimately it is grounded in volatile inconsistencies. It must be rejected completely, or it will inevitably lead to more and more power shifting to the state. And this is precisely what we've seen. The 20th century witnessed governments hostile to communism abroad became increasingly accepting of growing statism within. The regulatory state grew, the welfare state grew, the warfare state grew. The spending at home and domestically was so great that it forced the American government to break the dollar's tie with gold. Well, we all know about that, don't we? Giving the American technocracy new ways to extract the wealth of the people and reward loyal institutions. The only remaining checks to the state come from what the public will put up with and from competition between governments seeking to attract financial and human capital. In 2021, would-be central planners in national governments and globalist institutions have identified the opportunity to transcend these remaining limits. Under the guise of public health, proud liberal democracies have imprisoned their own citizens without due process. Well, I'm speaking from Australia. I'm in Queensland, so we haven't had it as bad as Sydney and Melbourne, but still. They have shut down economies and destroyed countless small businesses. They have mandated medical procedures with the help of regulated corporations. They have silenced political dissidents. In response to the economic consequences of these actions, they are seeking to eliminate tax competition among states, harmonise medical mandates, control the price of select industries, and debank those who resist, or debunk, I don't know. With this new playbook and global ambitions, institutions like the IMF and the World Bank are seeking to use similar tools in the future in the name of whatever crisis they deem worthy. Climate change, overpopulation, domestic, misinformation. I can't say those words on the tubes. The cause of the day may change, but the playbook remains the same. We will own nothing. We will have no privacy. We will do what we are told, and we will like it, or else. As Mises understood, it doesn't have to be this way. This outcome is not inevitable. The trend can be reversed, as was the case with many other trends in history. How? By people like yourself arming each other with the intellectual tools necessary to identify and respond to this creeping authoritarianism. The challenges we face will not be solved with shallow bumper stickers and the facade of democratic elections, but by inspiring new generations of courageous individuals prepared to resist. This is the mission of the Mises Institute, to inform and educate individuals around the world in the ideas necessary for rejecting the intellectual sins of the 20th century and the authoritarian horrors of our existing neoliberal order, and restoring a civilization grounded in a respect for individual liberty, property rights, and peaceful coexistence. In the words of Ludwig von Mises, whether he chooses or not, every man is drawn into the great historical struggle, the decisive battle into which our epoch has plunged us. And that's what I seek to do on this channel, Finance Uncut. This channel is a sound economic channel, Austrian economic-based channel, sound money, sound economy, individual freedoms, liberty, property rights, you name it. And that's what I stand for. So another Austrian economist wrote a very important book, which also helps us to identify the warnings of this tyrannical authoritarianism, governments and whatnot that we've moved towards. So I believe every high school student, every university student should have to read this book. Let me put that up there. Can you see that? The Road to Serfdom by Friedrich Hayek, another Austrian economist. And guys, if you haven't yet read it, please read it. If you have, buy a copy for your kids, for your grandkids, for your nieces, your nephews, your uncles, your aunts, your cousins, your grandparents. Yeah, it's a very important book. You know, if only the majority of us had read this book, I don't think we would be in this situation today, what we're seeing politically around the world. So basically in this book, Hayek warns of the danger of tyranny that results from government control of economic decision-making through central planning. Pretty much what we got today, right? He further argues, you know, that the abandonment of individualism and classical liberalism inevitably leads to the loss of freedoms and basically an oppressive society. We end up with dictators, and here in Victoria we have a premier called Dan Andrews in Victoria, and he's got the nickname Dictator Dan. And yeah, and then we become serfs as the individual. So Hayek also challenges the view popular amongst the British Marxists that fascism was a capitalist reaction against socialism. He argued that fascism, Nazism, and socialism had common roots in central economic planning and empowering the state over the individual. And that's pretty much what we got today. So, you know, once again, if you haven't yet read this book, pick it up, read it. If you have, give a copy to your kids, your grandkids. It's not too late to start educating people. But anyway, I thought I'd share with you guys this. I thought it was very important in the times that we're living. So Mises, Hayek, they've warned about this Great Reset. They've warned about this change with authoritarianism and whatnot. So anyway, guys, if you like this video, hit that like button. Love to see your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you again on another episode of Finance Uncut.